Dun-dun. Let's draw. Hey, shapeshifter. I'm just getting myself situated. Hey, Alex. Hey, Joe. What do I want to do? I'm like totally fried from doing that last piece of artwork of Selena. Like, she took so fucking long. One, because I was updating her look, and two, just because she's a complicated fucking character. And I'm like, why? Why did I do this to myself? Why did I make her so fucking complicated? Let's see, what's a character I can draw? I'm kind of like just in a character drawing mood now. Like, let me pick. I should pick an adopt. And you know what? I think I already had an adopt that I was working on, and I forgot to keep going. Oh my god, I haven't even gotten far on Pam. Do I continue her, or do I do something else? I'll think about it. Let me look at my thumbnails on this. Hey, Jet. Oh my dear lord, just Lilith too. Ugh, I got two characters. I get. Does Francine count? Oh, let me look at Francine. Oh yeah, she was when I was experimenting. Either I'll use this, or I'll use this as a reference and draw her real artwork. We watched some of the last streams, so you do. Oh yeah, there are various ways I can go about it. Okay, so there's at least 3 damn characters in this folder that haven't been technically finished. And one of them I think I just gotta color one of them. Shit. Okay, well, those are projects I'll be doing during the week. Right now I don't feel like working on them right now. I feel like doing something fresh, just to clear my mind over working on Selena. Seriously, she just broke me. Because she's such an old character. But she was like detailed in a way that I'm like, hey, I'm only going to change certain things in order to keep it canonical to what the current lore of the series is. I could draw you, I could draw you. Thanks. Hopefully people like the finished version. I want to pick somebody simple just so I can turn my brain off. I'm just looking through all the adopts that I have. Because my own characters, you know, it's going to be a while before I get to them, because at least they have artwork, even if it's old. But the adopts, I have to make my own artwork in order to properly use them. Well, I don't have to, but I would prefer it to do that way. Well, the finished version I just now put up on on a pay hip, but once the week is over for when the time limit's done, then it'll be on Patreon/Subscribestar in the $50 tier. I could draw you. Let me look at you. You're not too complicated. Sure, why not? We'll do this character. And close these. Hello. Woof woof. Alright, put you over here. I can manipulate this. So, this is the character that is serving Caitlin the ice cream. Whether or not she actually works at the ice cream place or owns it is a different story, but I want to say she just works there, and then she does her own cooking / baking on the side. But for now, that's the case. I mean, is she a shark? She has fluffy ears, and she seems more like a dragon to me, because I don't even see a fin. I would go with dragon personally. Alright, so since I got that situated, shrink this. Okay, let's start drawing then. I'm literally just in a blah mood now after working on Selena. Because not only did I have to, well, I didn't have to do this, but not only did I draw Selena, but I also drew her with a vor belly. Not that big, but just because. Just to fit with Joanne already doing vor. And I had to like do little tricks to make it work. But anyway, I'm gonna turn my brain off now just so I can just chill. Anyway, I hope you guys are having a good day. I'm having a good day too, it's just I'm like blah right now. Fix that. I'm gonna try to stick to most of her design because there really isn't much to change on her. And she has pretty wide space for her eyes, so I'll probably do something like this. And just have her facing forward. Might tilt her head or something. I need to draw more men, that's what I need to do. They'll probably be the next collector's set. Will be male characters. I mean, I've drawn men before, I just don't draw them that often. Unless they're like relevant to the comics or the main character. Back in the day, I drew men all the time, and it was like the women that were the least numbered, but then that quickly switched towards the end of high school for me. Or maybe it was always just women were the bigger number. I don't know. I honestly wasn't counting, but it's pretty obvious that I draw more women than men at this point. Oh no, I've drawn men since then. They're just either in art sets or like Ask the Cast or something. And I'm pretty sure he's definitely not the last male character I've drawn. I've definitely drawn others. I'm gonna try to be consistent with the way they drew their muzzle. I gave him like a curve though to this part. If Becky is too in the way of the other part of the screen, just let me know and I'll change it. I just gotta make sure I didn't include any risque stuff on the stream. Hold on. Let me just double check that part. I'm like, did I? Those are that. What about these? That has nothing to do with it. That has nothing to do with it. That has nothing to do with it. Where the hell did I put? Okay. Did I put anything risque on this? No, I didn't. Okay, I can shrink Becky. Alright, so let me just swap her for a moment. Normal Becky. Small Becky. Turn on, please. Thank you. No, we don't need your thighball on. There we go. Is that better, or should I find like a middle ground? Or should I just put her back to being giant? Blah 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 blah. Being giant. Blah. Okay, sorry. I was checking something. I was like, oh, is she bouncing too high? I know there's a way to do like a GIF of the VTuber, or of the PNG tuber. I'll try to experiment with that at some point. But for now I'll just leave it at this. Now she just seems too small. Fuck it. I'm just gonna put her back. There. You're dealing with big Becky again. I usually just use the small and forget games or something. But whatever. Oh, and a tiny Becky. Ha. Whatever. You know what? Here's the fix. We'll do it this way. Just a little bit smaller. There we go. That way she's still big. Shrunk her a little bit. There we go. There's the medium. There's the medium. There's the compromise for this. Okay. Anyway. Back to this. Mostly because I didn't want her taking up too much of the screen, but at the same time it's like, whatever. I don't know. I'm just thinking out loud. And you do not have nostrils, that's fine. If I feel like adding them, then I will. Let's make this part of your eye more round. Anyway, hope you guys are doing good. Had a nice weekend. Let's see. Because the way your head is, it needs to be like about here. Head just kind of goes into the horns. But let's try to balance that a bit. Gonna work on drawing faster. I'm gonna start timing myself. And I'll try to judge it based on the character. I'll be like, alright bitch, you got this long, do it. It kind of blends into the other part of the head. So her hair would be like this. Rolls their fat ass in. Hey, Ross. So I don't know, Frost. I've seen your character, and by my standards, they're not that fat. I would just say they're on the thick side. That's about it. This part's gonna be interesting. How dare. Do I have water? I have a little bit of water. I forgot to go get more water, but that's okay. Kind of curve that in a bit. Okay, this is looking alright. Bring this in a little bit more. Okay, judging from where this part of the hair is. Might have to the original picture has the head tilted, whereas this one's looking forward. Is drinking a real fluid? I drink. I mean, water is primarily what I drink. Very rarely do I drink anything else. And the only time I drink alcohol is special occasions, like, you know, like a party or, you know, New Year's or something. There we go. Okay, still need to draw the other part of here. Oh yeah, drawing them in a wire form is a bit of a challenge, because like, okay, like drawing fat characters is a challenge in a sense of making them fatter without making them taller, because that's always been like the real challenge of it, because you just want to draw everything big and thick, but realistically, you know, you have to pay attention to the bone structure and shit like that. And Lord knows I have had a problem with that. If we look at Marcy in the comics and all that, it's like, yeah, technically this all wouldn't work. At least not the way that I was doing it. Yeah, and I've noticed that that's like been a thing in like just like a common conversation with people. Like when you say somebody is getting bigger in terms of like weight and stuff like that, people immediately, or just like saying like, oh, he's a big person. In your mind, you're talking about, you know, like bulkish and like possibly fat or whatever. But for some reason, people's mind defaults to height, and I'm like, what? Like that had nothing to do with what they were saying. It's like, oh, like this was a big person. It's like, yeah, well, I'm like 6'2", and I'm like, what? It's like, that has nothing to do with this scenario. I mean, sure, height matters to a degree, if you're like, you know, trying to get in a fight or something, but that wasn't the case. Okay, what the hell is going on with the top of their head? Are they wearing something? Or is it just... Because this is literally the only reference I have this character. Because, like, let me grab a red color just to point out what I'm talking about. Like, right here... Let me get a bigger... Right here, there's like this yellow spot on their head. And I don't know if it's like part of their fur. It's not their hair, because their hair is clearly orange. And I don't know if they're wearing a hat or something, but the hat doesn't make sense because their apron doesn't match that aside from the heart. So now I'm sitting there going like, okay, what is this? Do I just put it in there and color it orange just because it will make sense? So I'm all tripping out over that little detail. This was an adoptable that I adopted a while back. How long ago since I've had this character? A lot of these adopts are like years old at this point. Yeah, this one I got in 2021. Because I keep records of everything. So yeah, this is a character I was just kind of sitting on until I found a reason to use them, and that happened in Secrets recently. It's like, yeah, we get to use this character that's technically irrelevant to the story, but I wanted to throw them in there anyway. And just because the reference shows them as a baker doesn't mean they can't like do something ice cream related. Or maybe the shop that they're at also sells ice cream. It could be both. Because it was between this character and Vanilla, and I wanted Vanilla to be more bakery focused. I could always say this character and Vanilla have like friendly baking competitions, and like I don't know, maybe like they have like a there's like another character who like taste tests what they make. I need to make their ears bigger. Taste test what they make, and then you can assume what happens after that. Or even have like a food critic or something. I've been thinking of having like a food critic character. I might either use an adopt or I'll make a new character for it. I'll have to look through the adopts and see if any of them fit that idea. Because some of the adopts I haven't planned anything for them yet. While others I have plans, I just haven't put them into motion yet. So yeah, that weird space on their head, I'm just gonna make that as part of their hair. Oh yeah, and they got these little things. Okay, it's hard to tell if that's part of the ear over here, or if it's part of this, because it looks like it could be like a bandana. Okay, I'm gonna say that's a bandana. Because that's the only way that seems to make sense. So I'll put like a little thing here just to make it look like a bandana. Because I think that's what it is. I'll put like little things here. Okay, so now we've solved that mystery. People have been asking me if I'm open for commissions, so I might consider it sometime. I don't know if I want to start this month or in March. Probably March or whenever I decide. But I'm considering it. I'm not promising that I'll do it. Okay. I guess based on how the references the ears are facing a certain direction. I should probably save. Thicker liquor vid. I might know what that is. For a moment there, I was like, fuck, how do I spell your name? And I was like, oh yeah, let's do it this way. And European G. There you are. Alright. Oh, yeah. Yeah, I follow that person, so they showed up on my thing. Sometimes I'll look at an artist and be like, alright, what did they do? Because it's been a while since I've seen their work, and then I'll just go through the archive. Usually what I do. But Zoidberg does good stuff. Give him some thick arms. Yeah, but like character art is kind of hard because part of me wants to like have them in an action pose, and then other times I want them just kind of standing so that you can see more of what like their whole profile type of thing. Because you know when you have them in like an action pose, you might miss some certain details. Like for example, save this. Like if I drew a character, but I had them in like say this pose, for example. And it's like covering up their chests and stuff like that, so you don't know what the full details of their chest is. So you're like missing something like that. You know? So like, or even a pose like this where you're doing the whole like foreshortening thing, so you have like their hand out right here. Let's just say it's like a claw or something like that. So you have their hand like that, this is in the back, and if I get all fancy with it, this color is black to be like it's in shadow. And then the rest is like, you know, stereotypical action pose thing. And it's like, as much as I like doing that, I don't want to like, I don't want people to like not know what something is in case they feel like trying to draw it or something. So it's one of those situations where I was like, standing is fine. If I want them in an action pose, I can draw them in an action pose after the fact. Well, the version that I posted has the button fly out and it transitions into a Michael Jackson thing. But it's possible that the version I posted showed the crotch and I just wasn't paying attention, so let me take a look. Oh yeah, her crotch is showing. That's fine. I'll just move it. Copy. Delete. And we'll put it in here. There. That makes more sense. And I see there's others. Here. Save those later. She's not exactly that busty. So I'm just give her like a... Because she has like more of a bottom heavy build. So I'll give her like some booba, but not too much. Not like the ridiculous sizes that other characters have. Well, I say ridiculous, but I've seen people with giant sized titties, so it's not like it's a stretch. So yes, I know what an H cup looks like. I've also seen a Z cup, and good lord. It's kind of hard to tell if she has a small waist, because that's just like fur coming out on the side of her apron. So I'll just draw the body first before I fluff it up. Yeah, I'll draw the figure before I do the fur and the apron. So, assuming that's where the body is. So give her some thick thighs. She's already thick in her normal art, so it's not like I'm changing much. Like, for the most part, her design is solid. There isn't anything I want to change. Now that I think about it, where did I get them? No. Where are you? There you are. Okay, you were designed by that person. Okay, okay. And then if I don't get around to finishing this on stream, then I'll make a stream where I just work on all the unfinished character art. So I'll probably do that for tomorrow. I need to work on the next slice of life too. You know what? It's easier if we draw the feet all the way in and then we put the nails. Oh, I'm sure I will when I look at it. I mean, it's really not hard to press my buttons, and if the artwork is, you know, nicely done, then, you know, I'm most likely gonna save it. And if it's by the what was their name? Doll something. If it's by them, because I think I glanced at it for a moment when I was looking through the media stuff. If it's by the doll something, then yeah, I already have a folder for them. I save their work too. I usually make a folder for every artist that I really like their stuff with. Especially if I'm saving them for references and stuff like that. Combine these two together. She has some thick fingers. Feels like she's leaning a little bit too forward, so I tilt her a bit. Oh, let's forget to finish her foot. That reminds me, there's still a few bios I want to make. Kind of want to put a little bit of fur over here. A little extra fluff. Thank you. Let's do her tail. So, assuming this is over here, so her tail will be about here. Okay. Yes, I am. Because the more you draw, the better. Judging from where the head is, we need to go out here. Sorry that I'm so quiet, just kinda in the zone and then nothing's really striking up a conversation at the moment. Just kinda chilling. Okay. Now we can do the apron. So looks like the apron goes about here. There's clearly straps, but the hair is hiding it. But could show it on this side just a little. I'm just lurking sleep. No worries. A little bit of cleavage. And she's got the heart pattern. Put like a remnant of the strap over here just to help tie it in. And that fur is spilling out. So either she's really thick or she just has a shit ton of fur. Or both. Bring in the apron to help thicken up this side a bit. And judging from where the apron goes up here. This goes well past. this a little bit bigger. Some eyelashes. Okay, think I can move on to the coloring part. I might just do a few more details here. Mostly small details. But yeah, I can move on to coloring. Just kind of cleaning up a bit. Okay. Also trying to take into account that I turn her into a card. That's gonna be the most annoying. Because some of her color fades into the tail. It fades in here too. Okay. I think the hair will probably be what I have to do. I'll just have to work into the rest of her. Oh yes, you're gonna be the death of me, coloring wise. Grabbing some music. Come on. Veteruscy has a sale precious Joe. That's your collection. It can go out two ways. Owner said Joe catches her and decides to make her part of a collection. Well, the cursed one I've seen like a dozen times, and her getting captured and being fed I've probably seen as well. But I mean, any idea can work. It just depends on how you go about it. Level 10 mastery of fat girls. Hello. Okay, let's play. Should be able to play all of them.
Come on, biatch. Come on.
Okay, that is not a song. Why is this in here? I think it was voice lines that they took out for something. I don't know. There we go. We can skip room. There we go. Happy hour. just gotta take my time. And technically the heart should have line art around it. Duck lizard. Since she's a baker, I could see her like accidentally getting flour on her face, and it just looks like she just took a nosedive into cocaine. She just bursts into somebody's room after doing that. She's like, "We have to cook," and they're like, "Uh." Oh, that'd be funny. It's like, we have to cook. And they'd be like, I hope you're talking about food. And she'd be like, yeah, of course. Why wouldn't I? Hold on. What's that? Okay, so she does have markings on her face. But for some reason they made it look like a shadow for the hair. Flour is cocaine for my species. Either that or sugar. It's like, Vanilla, we have to cook, and she's like, I'm already on it. getting a cake ready. Both of these are two different colors. Fuck you. Okay, which is the base one? That one is. Seriously, this would be my personal hell. Just coloring. and shading characters. That's gonna happen. That's what's gonna happen if I go to hell. It's just gonna be coloring and shading all day. People will be like, "Oh, that's not so bad." It's like, no, you really gotta think about this. Like, clearly you don't understand. Okay, so assuming this is like this, and assuming it goes somewhere over here, I'm gonna draw over it. Seems to go past this part though, but then it goes downwards, so it's probably like over here. I'm just gonna assume it's roughly the same thing on this side. Yeah, that'd basically be it. Just be Becky in a dominatrix outfit, forcing me to color characters. I did not realize how outrageous this character's color scheme was until I took a good look at it. I was like, fuck. There are some creative liberties I can take with her, but for the most part it's like, nah, man. We gotta go dicks out with this character. Now, does this brown blend in with the other one? No, it does not. But it blends there for some fucking reason. Okay. And I know that's probably this, you know, if I adjust the program, I could probably fix that. It's one of those things where it's like, I can do it. I mean, if she's in latex, you're probably gonna hear her fat ass squeaking the whole time. Or stretching the material. Or both. It's better in both outfits. Fuck it. The mention of Andy just triggered something. Fuck. Both fast food places named Big. Big dogs and big burgers. Yeah, it was. Welcome to the big corporation. That reminds me, I still need to draw the CEO. Like, I drew like a tease of her, but I didn't draw all of her. And either she's like the one in charge, or like whoever is like the sole holder of it is just some big fatty or something. I don't know. And like, I don't know, like the whole like all the food is technically unhealthy if you eat enough of it. It's like a whole like fucking domino effect. And she's just trying to like keep the appearance that, you know, it's a, you know, good food for people to eat at. And then she sees well, if it was based off of the fucking Tiffany weight gain drive, then she would be like, what the fuck? And use that as like advertisement or whatever. But of course, that's not canon, so if I made a new character that goes through the shit that the weight gain drive version of Tiffany went through, then I could go off of that. It's like, welcome to the big incorporation. It's like, oh shit. Yeah, that'd be a whole fucking thing. Maybe I'll make a comic of that, but we're gonna wait a while before I dive into that rabbit hole. Oh yeah, I forgot to draw the fucking heart on an apron. I could do that with the colors. I don't have to do that for that. Yes, those are arms. Now the question is, where does that stop? I do that. Or fuck it, I could just make it the CEO, and she's just like a thin, skinny bitch. But her whole goal is to make everyone else fatter. But do it in just like a very subtle way. Or no, not even that. She just like completely dedicated to the company, and then when the situation like what happens with the Tiffany weight gain drive thing happens, then she's like, wait, they ate how much food? So she goes and personally sees it for herself, and she's like, huh. It's like, we can make something out of this. And then that's how that whole scenario checks out. She just turns them into like a mascot or like just like a spokesman for the company. Oh, you recently reread Buckle? Yeah, that comic is going to get a big rework. I gotta set some time for that because I do want to work on it this year. I was supposed to work on it last year and that shit didn't happen. I did like some stuff for it, but not enough to really matter. Nah, I think like the better idea is to not have it be a kink with her. She just completely didn't expect somebody to consume so much fucking food. And then decides to go off of it. I'd imagine that Andy has PTSD at the sight of eating challenges based on how... Yeah, that could be a thing. Andy is just like, yeah, no. He just sits there thinking about how did they eat so much? Where did it all? And he doesn't even have to say where did it all go because he can clearly see where it all goes. He just sits there in horror. For a second there, I was like, Valorant, what the hell? I was like, oh, it must be an ad. Okay. Now, okay, that has to be a shadow because it doesn't match any of the other colors that I'm looking at. Okay, I'm gonna take some creative liberties and give her a little bit of like a pattern above her eyes, kind of to make it look like mascara, but it's really just her fur pattern. There we go. Her eyes are going to be interesting because she doesn't have normal whites. Her horns look like they're about the same color as her hair, but I might change that. Is this the same color? No, it's not. That could be a shadow effect. Hold on. Yeah, nothing matches that. Let's see how this looks though. I don't hate it, but I don't know if I want it. Nah, I'm just gonna keep it the same as her hair. We'll see. We'll see if that's what I want her to do, or if it's just like a complete fluke that it turned out that way. Because like she wasn't expecting people to consume that much of big burgers or big whatever food, and then she gets like the corporation idea of trying to promote it. And then maybe that leads to more people getting fat. And then maybe somehow someone she knows gets fatter and that might trigger something. But I don't know. I'm leaning more towards her being serious about it. But we'll see how I feel later down the line. Because it feels too easy to just say, oh, she's into it. Because you can do that for pretty much anyone. It's more interesting to use a character who wasn't originally into it, or didn't even know it was a thing. Oh, I can be serious. I mean, that's not hard either. It's just a matter of it's like it's I mean, it's obviously been done before, but it'd be interesting to like pick a character who's just like 100% completely unaware that that's a thing, and just seeing it for herself, like just watching, just to see, you know, what it's all about, or just to see it firsthand in person. And she's like, and she'll be like, that's impossible, they can't eat that much food. And then sure enough, someone does it, and she's like, what the fuck? Just blows her mind. And then when she like goes home, she's just sitting there thinking of what she witnessed all day. Just going through like the whole mental gymnastics of it all. I think that would be interesting to do it that way. But for now, that's neither here nor there. So we'll get there when we get there. And I am assuming this is a bandana that she is wearing. or some sort of headpiece, so that's what this is. Okay, so got that much of her. Still got ways to go. And now, looking at your paws, they are not the same color as that. So I gotta change that. There's all this brown patterns. She's got so many fucking patterns. Okay, so now the real question is, where do we start with this? Are the nails different colors too? They are! Okay then. The feet and tail different colors too. Oh, so slightly compared to this color. Okay, I'm gonna base this off of the tail and go from there. Just to keep my sanity. It doesn't matter what I color those, because that's gonna be a different color. Can you show us the headband and the original piece? I mean, that's it. This is where it is, right here. Let me grab a color. Oops. So, this is where it is. It's this part right here, and then these two. It may not even be a headband, but it doesn't match anything else on her to make sense, so I'm assuming it's a headband. Yeah, I know I forgot the heart. I'll put the heart on a little later when I get to the coloring of the apron. But yeah, it's these little details right here that make me think she's wearing a headband. Because nothing else on her makes sense to tell me otherwise. And like technically the two spots over here could be part of her ears, but they don't match the same brown that these little details are. It matches this brown, so it could be part of this, but it doesn't match these, and that's what I'm going off of in order to make this make sense. So I'm assuming that's the headband. I think that's a baker's shawl, though. Yeah, it could be that. But that's my thought process on that. So I'm assuming that's what it is. Anyway, back to you. Did all of that. Cool. We're gonna have to change tones on this in a bit though. But I just need the base. It's like once you wrap your head around it, it's not that difficult of a character. It's just you gotta understand where everything is. I might change the apron, but I'm fine with it matching her. Honestly, the only detail that I got a little stuck on was just the headband, because that's the only part of her that you don't see. Everything else is pretty self-explanatory. Like, this is fur on her, so it's masking how thick or thin that her waist is. There's like a slight little opening right here, so that could be like the back of her tail, like one of the spots over here. So that makes sense. They forgot the yellow stripe that would go over here, but that's okay. I can kind of just eyeball it and figure that out. There is technically a slight color change, but that could just be the shadow that they decided to put on her right here. So I'm assuming that the original color is over here. So it's not hard to figure out. The hard part is just doing it when you're redrawing the character. Because a lot of the times I think, because like again, these are adoptable characters, and a lot of the time people don't actually redraw the character. They just either commission other people to try to do it, or they just use them for like RPs, and that's kind of it. And did I accidentally leave that colored on you? Yes, I did. You're all wrong, it's my Naruto headband. Ninja Baker. If she were a Ninja Baker, I would make it so that she either sabotages like other food, or she thinks that she's missing like a particular detail or something in her food, and so she like sneaks in to add in the extra ingredients or something like that, or she swaps out like a bad recipe for a better, or a like a bad batch that she made for a better one or something. Or she just, you know, inserts food into people's homes that they didn't buy, and then they end up eating it, and shenanigans ensues. Or whatever other options I can think of for a Ninja Baker. Kind of like that one animation. I forget what show this was, or I think it was a show. It was either a show or a movie. It's someone breaking into like this. I think she was a princess, or she could have just been a regular woman. But there's like a anime where someone breaks into someone's room, force feeds her some cookies, and then she just immediately gains a shit ton of weight. It could be like that. Like, I'm sure you could find it. It's on YouTube. I just don't know what show it was from. Like, I could probably find it real quick. Hold on. That is not where I was pressing. Oh, I don't know what anime it's from, but if you look up Karen weight gain, yeah, it's the exact scene. Where is this from? Is it in the comments at all? There's no comments. I'll leave a link for it though. Copy. Here you go. Yeah, just use the cloning technique. Like, clones in general are such a crazy idea when you're trying to run a business. It might be Porco Roco, but I have no idea. Okay, just for consistency's sake, I'm going to make her nails match her hooves. Just so I don't lose my goddamn mind on trying to 100% match this character's colors. I can put this here. Because it makes more sense to color match. Dieters from another world. Don't think I've heard of that one. I'll have to look that one up. Oh, plus size elf. Maybe. Like, those characters aren't difficult to draw. My only gripe with that series is that it doesn't really go anywhere after a certain point. Like, there's no, like, extreme. It's more like just basic. It's not bad. Or I've only read the first series of the books, because I kind of lost interest after the whole thing was just this character wants to lose weight, they lose weight, and then they come back and just gain the weight again. And then they're still constantly trying to lose weight, but then they keep, you know, snacking and stuff like that, so it doesn't really go anywhere. And there's like one particular moment where they gain more weight than they normally would. But even then, it's like a brief moment and it's temporary. It doesn't last like longer than like a chapter. Not even a chapter, it was like, well, no, I guess I'll say chapter, but still, it was just kind of like, yeah, it happens and then it goes away like immediately. So, not a bad weight gain story, but it's also not amazing either. And like right now with Ayana weight gain story, I'm wondering what's the end goal. Like, is the character just gonna keep getting fatter and fatter till she can't move, or is there more to it? And granted, that story has been going well. Like, I'm enjoying that one. I haven't read the. I haven't continued the Pix VO one. I have to check back and see where that's gone, because I don't know where the hell that story is going. Oh, the one I was talking about is Ayana weight gain story. I can find it because I have that one saved. Faves, where are you? There you are. Copy. Kind of goes to a bit of a risque site, but there it is. But yeah, that one's not bad. Yeah, I've been listening to the English dub of Shangri-La, so I'm waiting for those to get updated. I like Belock's English voice. She sounds great. Okay, so let's do the underside of her tail. And then what else have I been reading? There's the Kip stuff. I think Kip has a hard time making the weight gain stuff realistic. with the characters, because a lot of the times it's more balloon belly, if that's like the best way to put it. And like very rarely does it reflect on the rest of the character. Like they'll show it on the ass a bit, but then the ass is inconsistent. Like in the recent pages with not Saya, not Tessa, what's the other girl's name? Saya or something like that? No, not Saya. Starts with an A. I think it's Aya or something like that. She's like the most inconsistent. Aika, there we go. She's the most inconsistent one, because on one end they'll show her like, you know, just packing in and making herself like bigger, but then it seems to like, I just got dished up. Yeah, I know. But then it like fluctuates between pages, and then like with the recent events that happened when they're at the restaurant, it's like it shows her ass huge, but then it's only like that for getting stuck in the chair, and then it immediately just goes back down. It's like very, like, Kip is very inconsistent. And again, like I've talked to Kip like a long time ago, and they told me that yeah, it's basically just the weight gain part is the bread and butter, but what they really want to do is lesbian stories. So I get it. And I think like only a handful of times did they ever like do more realistic weight gain for like a piece of art. I am going to put this over this so that way I don't fuck this up. There we go. But yeah, I totally understand why that's not a priority with Kip. It's like draw the big bellies, draw a bit of a fatty ass, and then or in thighs, and that's pretty much it, really. Maybe big tits, but even then, that's not like amazing. Okay, so that's how that is. What can I do for this part? It's like slightly lighter, but that could be just where the shading part went. It's a little bit lower than that. Hold on. Do another layer. That way I can adjust it. So like this. Dumb it down to like 70. Looks about right. Is this the same color as the arms? It is. The question is, do I want him on the same layer? Probably not. So let's move this. And so far, no word from Faf. Actually, I haven't checked today. Let's find out. Do I have a message? No. So far, nothing from Faf. Probably busy working on the animation stuff. How active is he in his socials? I have no fucking idea. I will say he was more talkative when he was actually drawing his artwork. Or at minimum, you know, having a 3D model but making it a comic thing. But once he started doing the animation things, he just fucking pieces the fuck out until there's an update. And then that update is usually like months at a time. And even then, they're very inconsistent about where they update people, because you gotta remember he has 2 accounts as far as I'm aware of on Subscribestar. So you have one for the Vor stuff, and then one for, I assume, just weight gain stuff. And the biggest problem... Oh no, I am not in A Club. If I was, good lord. If I was in A Club, that'd be interesting. But I am not in there. Oh, I just sent him a message on the damn site. That's it. I'll wait for your ad to be done. In the meantime, we'll play some music. What else do I got that I can play that won't fuck me over? Try this and see what happens. Welcome back. To answer your question, no, I am not in A Club. If I was, that would be very interesting. But no, I just sent him a message on Subscribestar and see what happens. And because he updates his pages, you can look and see the dates of when he last posted. And the problem is that, okay, so when he wanted to start doing animation and he like stopped his current comic midway, he wouldn't update for like either months at a time or a year. It's been like a year since he stopped working on that comic, and he tries to shift to animation. So the problem is he has two accounts, and one account says, "Hey, I'm doing animation," and then the other account doesn't say jack shit. And it won't be, and it's not until one account says, "Oh, hey, here's our progress of the animation," and then the other one will say, "Hey, here's some works in progress of the animation stuff that we're doing," not even realizing that he didn't update that particular account on what the fuck he was doing. So you have to jump. So in order to know what the hell is going on with his of what he's doing, you have to be jumping back and forth between both accounts, and one might be more updated than the other, but the other might have different information that the other one doesn't have. So you got to figure that out. And then not only that, but one account is, focused on the comic stuff, but that one's been, MIA for over a year. And then the other one is just saying, "Hey, here's the progress on our animation stuff." And like, this has happened like 6 times or so, where he'll say, "Hey, we've made like a lot of progress," and then he'll air quotes say that they're doing better than what industry 3D animators are doing, which I call bullshit already based on the teaser video that he put out. And again, like, him wanting to do this is perfectly fine. I just think he's tackling it the wrong way, and definitely is mishandling it all. But anyway, so he's saying all that, but then they keep constantly saying they're changing engines or they're moving things over to something else for some reason, and they keep shifting or I don't know if they're like changing servers, or they're changing hard drives, or like PCs or whatever, or they're changing programs, because they keep constantly trying to change something or implement something else into the project that doesn't need to be done right now. Because it's like, dude, start slow, like, because they're trying to make this like a whole big thing, or like make like big chunks of the animations like the continuation of the comic and all that, and it makes no sense, because it's like, dude, you're already in the middle of a project, and now you're trying to turn it into an animation, and you don't seem to understand the scope of your animation, and then they keep adding in like all these details and stuff like that doesn't make sense. Because, okay, like, this is the knowledge that I have is coming from, working on this kind of stuff in college, and it's like, okay, if you're adding in certain details, you need to also understand, hey, remove/delete the shit that doesn't appear in your scene, because that way you'll save on render time. It'll make sure that, you're not sitting there for like over several hours trying to render shit that doesn't even need to be rendered. And then he's also paying other people to work on this. So that's the other hard part about that. It's like, okay, so you're getting whatever funding you're getting from Subscribestar, and then you're also trying to pay other animators to work on this, or other 3D people to work on this. And then I don't know what's the scope of that, because you have to have, if you're going to be paying them, that means they're spending their time to work on your shit. So I don't know how much he's paying them doing that. But then you also got to take into account, okay, if you're rendering videos and stuff like that, it's smarter to have multiple computers to do that. So he probably spent however much money he spent on expenses for that. And then you have to spread them all out between different computers for different scenes and whatever to render. So that way you're speeding up the process, and then you composite them all together and stuff like that. So with that on top of it, so then you have to have multiple computers, multiple programs of the software that they're using, all the plugins and stuff that they're fiddling around with, and then whatever else they're doing in order to help with render time and stuff like that. So he's doing all that, but then he's saying he's transferring it to something else, and that's the part I'm like, okay, well, what the fuck are you doing? Because they were starting with one program, and then I think they moved over to Blender, if I remember correctly, and so they had to like convert all their models and stuff like that, and I'm like, okay, I understand you wanted to change programs, but you probably should have saved that for a different project if you're already in the middle of something using a different program, because that makes no fucking sense to do all that, especially because he also says that they were starting off with not knowing much about animation at all. So they were doing this cold turkey, and it makes no sense. It's like, why would you spend so much time making a comic that uses 3D models, and then midway of the comic, you decide, hey, I'm going to do animation now, not knowing how to do animation. And so you're going through all this training process and trying to learn everything. And then you have poor communication of that process. So, and again, only one account knew that they were doing animation for a good chunk of time until they finally updated the second account of what they were fucking doing with works in progress, not even realizing that they didn't even tell anybody they were doing it. And so it's this whole fuckery, and I'm just sitting there going like, dude, I understand what you're trying to do, but you executed it so horribly that if nobody knew what the hell you were doing, it's like they would think that you just stopped updating your accounts and just decide to leave. Computers will do the work for me. Right? And then, like, in the middle of all that, he was like talking about using AI for his artwork because the thought process he was saying was that he was going to, for the people who wanted 2D art or whatever, he was just gonna rely on AI for that for some reason, rather than, just him drawing, because that's what people want. They want his artwork, not AI. And he was trying to say like, well, it'll be trained off of his artwork, and that's what will matter. And everyone's like, well, I don't know if everyone was like this, but that was my expression of it, was saying like, no, people don't want AI, they want you. That's why they came here. Why else would they bother? They came here for your art, for your stories and characters. They didn't come here for you to just crank out a shit ton of AI art that they themselves could probably do if they just took his artwork and used it as samples and all that they could just do it themselves. But anyway, so he put out like a few sample artwork of that, and then it just defeated the point. So not only so here's the whole scope with Beth. And again, I still think he's a good artist. I don't know what the hell happened with him. It was like because chapter 4 was when I came across his artwork. So whatever happened before I came in and found his stuff, he went from working on Hetty, or he did a bunch of other comics before Hetty. So he made all those other comics, started Hetty, got about chapter 4, and I think that's around when people started leaking his stuff and he started, going crazy about that. So he cut everybody off from Hetty, except for people who are in the A Club. Then he says that when people lose interest of Hetty, he will stop Hetty. And my thoughts on that are, well, of course they're going to lose interest eventually, because you prevented other people from experiencing it. So there's that. Then you have Vor Party, which is the 3D comic that he's doing. He was working on that for however long he was working on that until like a year or two ago, where he now stopped working on that to do animation of it for the rest of it, which he didn't have any experience even doing that. So he's working on that. Apparently he's hired like a bunch of people for it to work on it. He also did Pest Control, but Pest Control is weird because he started at like page 12 of Pest Control because he said that people don't want plot for the comic, and I'm like, of course they do. You just decided not to draw it, so it starts off at like page 12 or 15. So there's no beginning to that comic. It just starts, and he ended that after a good chunk of time. But back with War Party, so he's doing an animation of that. He's going through all the shenanigans to work on it, and he has very poor communication skills, telling both of his accounts what he's doing. And it's basically, if you have the patience, then sure, you'll eventually get to see whatever the hell he's been working on. But even then, I even straight up told him, it's like, look, if whatever he ends up doing with his animation isn't worth the amount of time and bullshit that he's put people through because of the poor communication skills, the poor business mentality that he has, because again, you got to remember, if you were to come into his work right now, like let's just say his comics or his War Party comic or animation, whatever, is on like say page 100, and it took 100 days to get to that page. If you were to subscribe to him right now, you start at page 1, and it will take you the exact same amount of time that it took to get to page 100. So while everyone else is on page 200, you are just now getting to page 100. That was the mentality that he's been going about. And I'm sitting there going, why don't you just let people in and give them the option to pay to catch up? It makes zero sense on why you wouldn't allow that. And before we even say like, oh, he doesn't want to do that, he's already done it. He did it one time. He gave people the option to catch up, and it was a smart idea. And then he just doesn't want to do it again. So you can't even say that it's something he doesn't want to do because he already did it. So yeah, it's just a giant fucking roller coaster of what the hell. Because again, I like his artwork, but he just threw it all away. He threw it all away for 3D and now animation. And the last 2D thing he's done, as far as I'm aware, is either Pest Control, possibly Hetty, assuming he's even still working on the damn thing. That one horse comic thing, Catastrophe, and maybe the Fat Maid comic thing, or whatever the hell that one is. I don't really like that one that much, but yeah, those are like the last remnants of 2D that he's been doing. And even then, that's a bit of a stretch. Like, I've only seen him physically work on a comic once, and that was Pest Control. And he well, not physically, but like he did it on a stream, and that was it. That was the one time I saw him ever stream himself actually drawing. But yeah. So again, he put in so much effort to alienate his followers or potential followers that whatever happens with his finances is completely on him. Because it's like, you're paying a bunch of people to work on something nobody's ever done, and even if they do have experience, I can only assume either they're not being paid enough, or if they are, that's still a lot of money from his pocket. And then if they aren't being paid a lot, that means they gotta go do other jobs, so they don't have 100% time to work on the animation stuff too. So it's probably jumping around different animators or different modelers or whoever's working on it with him, assuming that's the case. Because it's gonna boil down to two things: either it's him and a bunch of people spending a lot of time working on the project, or he's bullshitting and it's just him, and he's basically making it the Yandere Simulator thing, where he says he's working on something, but they don't show any actual progress until later. And that might be a year or two or longer from now. Because he did show progress in terms of an animation, but that animation amounted to nothing. It didn't do anything. All it was a test animation. And it didn't actually contribute to anything other than, hey, this is what we were working on. But it was like 30 seconds or something. And those 30 seconds weren't even that good. It was just like, what was this? You barely did anything. And granted, the animation wasn't horrible, but it was just like, again, to me, it was just a waste of time. because he could have been using that time to progress his comic. He could have been using that time to progress any other art projects he was already doing. He could have used that time to make his business plans better in terms of getting a bigger following. Because again, it makes no sense to punish people for discovering you late or discovering you in the present. It's like either you learned who Faf was 10 years ago, or just don't bother. Because if you were to get into his stuff now, it's going to take you 10 years to catch up. Unless he gives you the option to pay to progress, which he only did once, and that was like 3-4 years ago. Anyway, that's my rant. So yeah. So it will be interesting on if he even responds to my requests with Hetty, because because I don't even know if he even follows my shit or if anybody informs him of things that I say. Which, you know, if they do, whatever at this point. But again, it's like, I don't know what else to say, because like, again, he's given me permission to draw Hetty before, but I don't know if his thoughts have changed now, so which is why I even bothered to ask. And then with the whole, like, if I decide I want to try to make money off of that, I informed him about that too, just to be sure, just to be 100% clear of what my intentions are. And if he says no, like no to the money thing, that's perfectly fine. If I find time to do it for free, fuck it, I'll do it. But yeah, because I know with me drawing it, he just said, you know, don't make it sound like it was official or anything. I'm like, yeah, that's fine. I don't mind doing it unofficially. Like, that's kind of the point anyway. But yeah, just I don't understand why he would punish newcomers to his artwork and stuff. Like, obviously, and it's like he and it's clear that he wants to make money. Like, that's like a no-brainer. It's like, duh, you gotta put food on the table. I agree with that. The problem is how are you supposed to make money if nobody knows who the fuck you are? And if they do find out who you are, how are you supposed to make money when they can't even watch or read the current stuff? Again, they get punished for coming in later. So all it's gonna do is make them not want to follow. Because again, like he would update his DeviantArt with like some of the current pages every once in a while, but it'd be all random. And so it'd be like, oh cool, I can't wait to read that page 3 years from now. It's like, what the fuck? I guess not. Like, I don't know. Like, something must have happened, because like I assume he's a smart person to a degree. Like, because he puts in all this effort into like DRM and shit like that, especially with the recent leak of his stuff that he found out, and he's like saying like, oh, it looks like the worms have leaked my stuff, I'm gonna update my DRM and blah 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 blah. And I even told him right when that happened, I said, maybe you should focus on your shit instead of trying to figure out how to keep people from leaking your stuff, or kicking out people that are leaking your shit, or figuring out who it is and all that, because people posting his stuff is just making people interested in his stuff. I don't understand why. And again, like, obviously if people leak too much of your stuff and you're not making money, that's going to hurt you eventually. I get it. But he's putting so much effort into stuff that doesn't matter that it's actively going to hurt him in the long run. But I don't know, maybe he knows something I don't. I've even said that in a response and all that. I was like, okay, maybe there's something you're not telling us that you know that you can definitely handle. But visually, from the looks of it, he's just very bad at business planning. He's very bad at community communication. He's very bad at figuring out how to deal with his own work, because again, he's either starting comics without the beginning of them, he's starting them midway, he's cutting them off mid-story to change up the format that he has no experience in, to spend over a year working on with multiple people who he has to pay. I assume they're getting paid. If they're not, then Jesus, they're very generous with their time, I guess. And then figuring out how to get more followers, because I think that was like a thing for a moment. He was like trying to figure that out, and I just told him, why don't you just let people read your shit? And I know he said that he was considering doing the whole update thing with, or putting out like like art sets with Teddy to like, or page sets with Teddy. So like, for example, get like chapter 2, or like, you know, get like a chapter and you pay for it type of thing. I think he was considering that, which that's a good idea. It's just a matter of if he'll ever do it. But I think he's going to be hung up on the whole, if someone buys it type of thing, they're going to leak it, and then he's going to make less money. So he's probably hung up on that, if I had to guess. So yeah, it's just a bunch of shit that's dragging him down. And currently the biggest one is working on this animation mid-comic that he supposedly says is better than professionals like Pixar or whatever. And I'm just rolling my eyes to that. I'm like, sure it is. And granted, I've seen 3D animations that are really fucking good on, like, you know, E621 and other websites and stuff. So it's not like it's impossible. But with what I've seen and the way he goes about his own projects and stuff like that, as well as, like, you know, thinking that 2D, his 2D work is practically pointless at this, to the point where he's rather use AI. It just tells me it's just gonna fail in a horrible way at some point. I don't know when, but if he keeps up the way he's going is just gonna crash. If it hasn't already. And this is outside of any, like, you know, world event stuff going on. So, because I think he still lives in Russia, as far as I'm aware. But yeah, it's just gonna be a domino effect, or a snowball effect, whatever you want to call it. So, I don't know. Just have to wait and see. He'll probably, I think the last time he talked to somebody was like a month ago, of them asking about the progress, and he was saying like they're moving servers or something. Well, they were saying that it was good and that they're ready to publish the video that they have, but yet there's been nothing. He's just like, oh, it'll take us another week or two, and it's been like over a month and no communication. So I don't know. I just think he doesn't know what he's doing, and he's just making up excuses. Yeah, like, shit gets leaked, and again, I understand protecting your shit. That makes sense. You know, you gotta put food on the table. If you're able to stop it, okay, sure. But if it happens, take advantage of it. Like, instead of sitting there going like, oh my god, they leaked my stuff, blah, 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 I'm not gonna make much money, blah, 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 blah. Just take advantage of it. Get feedback. See what people like, dislike. If something gets leaked and it seems to be the bread and like the majority, put more out based on whatever it was that got leaked. So, like, for example, if something about big fat milky cow women is the biggest one that gets leaked compared to like cyborg women, then you make more big fat milky titty cow women stuff. And sure, those might get leaked too, but a lot of the time most people don't know where to find leaked content. So if that's the stuff that people go for and it's the majority and people buy more of that, then you go for that. That's it. That's the extent that you need to go about. Anything further than that is just a waste of time and money. And if it gets worse, then you're just pissing people off and they're going to go elsewhere. Who knows? 2025 could be his year, maybe. I'll be surprised if anything happens this year. But he started working on this animation stuff back in like 2023, and there's been like nothing to show for it. And you got to remember, he already had the models for a lot of the characters done. He had the setting and all that done because that's what he was using in his comics. All the rigging was likely done too. So he had all that stuff pre-done for years because he was making that comic for years. And then he decided to do animation, which normally, sure, it's going to take time to model and stuff like that. But he already had that. So, aside from animation, and, you know, obviously animating a character doing vor is going to be incredibly difficult to do if you don't know how to do it right. Because, you know, that takes time and effort and all that. But there's been nothing, not even like a short, like, minute of animation just to show, hey, this is what we're working on. Like, even if it was just a work in progress, that would have been fine. Gotta call it for now. Yeah, you have a good day. I'm gonna stop too. Sorry for ranting for so long. But anyway, so we're getting close to finishing this character. All that's really left is the heart mark on her chest, her eyes, and I think that's about it. Oh yeah, and then obviously the little patch on in her apron. But yeah, so she'll be pretty much close to being done colored at least. I will save the rest of working on this character for Tuesday's stream, which is tonight for me. So tonight's stream. So tonight will just be like working on unfinished character art. But yeah, you guys take care. I will probably finish up doing the flat art for this, and then move on to working on like Patreon stuff. That way, can get those cranked out. But yeah, sorry again for my rant. I did not mean to go into all that for so long. But yeah, you guys take care, and I will talk to you guys later, alright? Bye bye.